Hi, welcome to the second episode of Mind, Body, Monday. Today I'm going to talk about what mindfulness is, a particular lens of mindfulness when applied to the workplace, and then I'm going to do a short 3 or 4 minute routine at the end just to sort of undo some of the stress and get us into the right mind, body state to go into our work week. So let's dive in and talk about mindfulness. It turns out that there's different types of mindfulness and there's different ways of approaching mindfulness and scoping how we talk about it. So I'm going to be talking about particularly mindfulness that's coming from this book called Emotional Intelligence Mindfulness. This is a emotional intelligence series that comes from Harvard University. And they have a collection of various authors and writers writing about mindfulness, specifically in the business context. And chapter 3 of this book talks about how to practice mindfulness through your workday by Erasmus Hogard and Jacqueline Carter. Okay, basically what they talk about is this idea that mindfulness isn't a secondary skill that we might learn. It's not a boring, passive, secondary, or sedentary skill. They talk about how mindfulness is actually a primary skill. Okay, mindfulness, from their definition, is having a sharp and clear mind. All right, and mindfulness is broken into two main skills. The first skill in business type mindfulness is focus. Our ability to focus on the task at hand, it's the quality of focus that we have. And the second is our awareness. And now the definition they gave of awareness in this book is awareness is our ability to notice the quality of our focus, to notice when there's distractions, and the ability to stay on task, right? To really maintain and sort of being aware of how that focus is being used. Because we can focus on distractions, worries or fears or anxieties. We can get focused on sort of distraction type tasks, or if we can be focusing on our work throughout the day. And so when we increase our awareness, we're able to be more aware of how we're actually using that focus instead of becoming mindful, becoming sort of automatic, like a robot, sleepy, right? Just sort of going through the motions or losing focus on what matters most to us throughout the workday. Okay? So they really made this distinction between mindfulness and multitasking. So mindfulness is really important, not only for having less stress, but it allows us to use our energy in a constructive way. Because when we multitask, research has shown that when we multitask, we're not as productive or efficient or effective as we would be if we were able to focus in on our tasks. I'm going to give more tips in a future episode about how to block time up throughout the day. So stay tuned for that. But what I will say in this episode is some of the tips that they mention I think are useful is you want to begin to develop that mindfulness skill throughout our days, where we are honing our focus and honing our awareness. And one of the simplest ways to do that is when we get to work, to take 10 minutes and just sit with ourselves. 5 or 10 minutes, sit with ourselves before we dive into opening the emails, before we do anything. Just sit and focus on the breath, focus on the sounds in the room around you. Feel into your body, feel into your posture, any pains or sensations. Set a timer on your phone. I recommend you use the app called Tao Mix, Tao Mix. It's a really great sounding timer. You can customize your own little sounds that plays like wind or wind chimes or waves. They have a free version, and when the timer goes, it's like a nice dong. I think you can pick a bell or a dong or whatever. Gong. That's a great one. So set a timer for 5 or 10 minutes when you first get to work. Get to work early. and just sit with yourself and focus on your breath and the sounds around you. This is a really great way to sort of begin to work on that mindfulness awareness muscle. And it also allows us to kind of go into the day with a bit of ease instead of just like going through the motions. We're working. We want to begin to feel and notice the sensations around us. Okay, so now that we've talked about some things we can do to improve our focus and our awareness throughout the work week, which is basically, first of all, being aware of what mindfulness is, right? Being mindful is having a sharper, clearer mind, and it's your ability to focus and your ability to be aware of how you're using that focus. It's one sort of aspect of mindfulness. And that mindfulness is actually, it's an active mindfulness while we're at business, while we're doing our work throughout the day, instead of a mindfulness that is sedentary or passive. We're talking about increasing a more active awareness throughout our work week. And one of the ways we can do that, again, is by setting that 10-minute timer before and after work, in between your transitions, just to give yourself time to feel and be present. That's going to go a long way of developing that mindfulness muscle. So let's go into a bit of an undo the desk session. So chances are, if you're watching this, you've just gotten home from work, or you're on the weekend watching this, thinking about how you can go about improving your work week to have less stress and more energy. And one of the ways we can do this, one of my favorite ways, is through the practice of Qigong. Okay, so let's dive right on in and just get a taste of it. Okay, take one hand, place it on the chest, one hand place on the belly, and we're gonna go to a wave breathing exercise. This is a way of just, for a quick 30 seconds, beginning to relax our nervous system and to put ourselves into a state where we can undo that desk and the stress of the day. So just inhaling into the belly, expanding the chest and the ribs, inhaling and expanding, opening the rib cage, and then as you exhale, compressing or exhaling from the chest, and the ribs, and the belly. So inhale, belly, ribs, chest, exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Just feel your feet on the floor beneath you, and just sit comfortably here, and just do a few more breaths just like that. Inhaling into the belly, expanding the ribs and chest, and then exhaling through the chest, ribs, belly. All right, so today we're going to focus really on our wrists, arms, and our upper neck and shoulders. Okay, so to start with, I want you to take your one hand over the other, and we're going to begin just to stretch and wake up the tendons in our hands. So one hand is slowly rotating over the other hand, and this is a good way to begin to undo some of the stress that we're maybe unconsciously holding in our hands and then our wrists. This is a really nice, gentle move. What I like about this one as well is like during maybe those 10-minute sessions when you first get to work, or when you're just about to leave work, if you do take that time to work on that mindfulness. For some of us, sitting there for 10 minutes just isn't, we're just too active, we can't do it. But maybe for part of that 10-minute timer, you could rotate your wrists just like this. And that's one way of undoing a bit of the stress. This is also and let's just reverse the motion here. You're also gonna notice that you can type a bit smoother when you do this, because your hands are a bit looser, a bit more warmed up before you start the day. So just undoing the stress and tension, really focusing on lengthening, stretching. You could also try doing a few twists with minimal resistance. Okay. Now we're going to go into a stretch that's going to open up the lines of tension along our neck and shoulders and into our hands. This is a really simple move called dragon stretches its tail. So looking at the palms, inhale. As you exhale, push the hands away and look over that opposite shoulder. And feel the stretch in the neck and shoulders and down the arm into the hands. Inhale, look at the hands. Exhale, push away, creating length in the hands and wrists, neck and shoulders. This is a great move for letting go of stress and tension throughout the day. It brings our attention to our breathing while also stretching. We'll do one more on this side. And exhale. And this, float the arms down. We're going to come over to the other side. Look at the palms. Inhale. Exhale, push away. Look over the opposite shoulder. Moving nice and slow here. Really feeling the stretch. We tend to build up a lot of tension in our neck and shoulders from sitting all day. This is a really nice, gentle move. Inhale with the palms. And do one more. And float that down, bring it across. And we're going to finish this up with the movement that it's a Qigong move called pulling down the heavens. So inhale the arms up above the head. And the hands come down the center. You can see them now on the screen. Floating palms face down as you exhale. Inhaling all the way up. And exhaling, palms float down. Just centering. I really like this move. I find this very relaxing. I love the full inhale, the opening of the ribs. As you exhale, just pushing yourself above murky waters. Let's do one more. Inhale, arms float up. Exhale, arms float down. Just cross hands over the belly. We'll take 3 breaths here. That's it. All right. So that was the second episode of Mind, Body, Monday. Today we talked about mindfulness and through the perspective of Harvard Business in their emotional intelligence series, which I think is really useful. I think there's many different ways of approaching mindfulness, but in terms of our work week today, in terms of having a more smooth, efficient, and productive work day, we talked about active mindfulness in the workplace, which is really about our ability to focus on our tasks, the quality of our focus, and our awareness of how we're using our focus. And so by developing a more intentional, high-quality focus, where we're doing one task at a time really well, instead of multitasking, I think if you begin to work on that, you're going to have a much more efficient and less stressful day. Every single Monday, for the foreseeable future, there will be a new Mind, Body, Monday. Each episode, we're going to be talking about the topics of how to have less stress, more energy throughout the work week. Also, if you like this content, follow the Effortless Work Week on Facebook, follow the Effortless Work Week on Instagram, because there's going to be unique offers shared through those portals, and I don't want you to miss them if you really resonate with this type of work, and if you're really serious about having less stress and more energy throughout the work week. Which means joyful productivity. It means enjoying the work week more and having a lot less stress. That's the major focus of this work, of my work. And stay posted as well, because in the next week or two, I'm not sure on the exact date, I'll be launching the Effortless Work Week webinar, which will be about a 40-minute webinar taking you deep into a 5-step process, how you can develop your own effortless work week. The things I give here are like little trinkets, little pieces of the puzzle, but in order to really gain a deep transformation, that's what that webinar is designed for. The webinar is designed to completely transform the stress and energy levels of your work week through this type of work here. And these videos will help you. So if you like this content, continue to watch. Also, in the next week or two, the Effortless Work Week podcast is going to be launched. The Effortless Work Week podcast, they're going to be 30 minutes to an hour long, and they're specifically designed to be there to help guide you in toward developing your effortless work week. Because sometimes you're going to be driving in a car, so maybe you're at work doing some sort of task where you can listen to podcasts at work. I know a lot of people listen to podcasts at work, so why not listen to one that's helping you to have less stress and more energy while you're at work. So yeah, you can listen to this podcast when you're driving, you're doing, if you're washing dishes, or if you're just go for a walk, it's going to be there for you. Okay, that's everything for today. I look forward to talking to you next week. Leave any comments or questions down below. And if you're interested in learning more about the Effortless Work Week program and you have any specific questions for me, send me a personal message. And if you'd like to talk about completely for free how you can have less stress and more energy throughout your work week. Okay, that's everything for today. Peace out, much love, take care.